Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch.
Captain America. Hey y'all, hey, welcome to Sisters Who Watch.
Hello, I'm Shelby.
And I'm Laura, and we're sisters who watch everything. TV, movies, sports, concerts, and even unwieldy superhero movies. We love to watch, and we love talking about it even more. Today we're watching
Captain America, Brave New Worlds. Yes, that's right, Anthony Mackie's leading turn as Captain America.
Woo woo. And before we get into our review, PSA y'all, make sure you're giving Sisters Who Watch 5 stars. 5 stars wherever you listen. Rate, download, subscribe, follow us on social media at Sisters Who Watch. Buy our merch on our website, sisterswhowatch.com. And you can sell us too. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. So as always, let's get into the background of the show we are discussing. The logline for Captain America Brave New World is Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, finds himself in the middle of an international incident and must discover the motive behind a nefarious global plan. Ooh, it sounds messy. The 4th installment in the Captain America film series, a continuation of the television miniseries The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and the 35th MCU film. The MCU
Wild.
is just growing and growing. So crazy. Laura, what was your favorite Captain America film?
I really like The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
The one right with Bucky, and that one's really, really good. I remember I rewatched it, I don't know, maybe a few years ago, and I was like, wow, this was good. But I haven't seen it super recently. But that one stands out. How about you?
Yeah, I think I like the Civil War one because you kind of had Cap being like kind of bad. And I was like, oh, yes, he's a villain. But not really a villain. But, people didn't like that he was protecting Bucky so much.
Yes.
He was pinned against, Iron Man. Like, I thought that was good.
I feel like Captain America Civil War was like such a huge deal. It was like, are you Team Cap? Are you Team Iron Man? Who you got?
I was here for it. Team Cap, of course.
Yeah,
Cap
me too.
Is one of my favorite superheroes with Chris Evans. And, I think Anthony Mackie did a solid job. I am here to support him. So Captain America is still a favorite of mine. We both watched The Falcon and Winter Soldier, right? The Disney Plus series that spin off of and continuing the story.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, that was so long ago. I feel like the Disney Plus shows had such an era, right? WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, but then they just kind of fell off. But I remember enjoying it. I was happy to see, the kind of buddy comedy action between Bucky and Sam. So they have a great dynamic.
It's crazy. That came out in March of 2021. So that was like 4 years ago.
Wow. Wild.
But yes, this is the return of Captain America, but instead of Chris Evans, Anthony Mackie. It's his first kind of solo superhero film, so big shoes to fill for sure. And the ensemble cast had a lot of people. Maybe too much. We'll get into that.
A lot.
Moving forward, Danny Ramirez, Shira Haas, Giancarlo Esposito, Carl Lumbly, Zosha Rocamore, Liv Tyler, Tim Blake Nelson, to name a few. And it was directed by Julius Ona. We love a Black director getting an opportunity. He directed films like Loose and The Cloverfield Paradox. Loose was that kind of like family drama thriller starring Kelvin Harrison Jr. I don't know if you ever.
Okay.
So yeah, he comes from more like an indie background. So this was his first kind of big budget movie. So exciting for Julius. Love that for him. Doesn't happen often. So another reason we had to support people. Go out and support Black directors, Black talent getting their moment. And right, this is the MCU, a Marvel title, and we've reviewed a couple Marvel content in the past, so make sure to check out our episodes on Deadpool, Wolverine, Madam Web, featuring our cousin Mitch. Yes. Madam Web counts. May not be true Marvel, it's Sony Marvel, but still a Marvel character. And we also reviewed the Marvels in the state of the MCU, as well as Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes, I feel like we've been big Marvel fans for a long time. I remember right when Iron Man first came out in 2008, we were there. We were in the theaters watching it. So, 2008? It's 2025. Oh my goodness. I can't believe the MCU is still It's still going on.
Along. It's been hurt a little bit. It's, limping, but it's still there.
I know. What were your expectations coming in? Were they high? Were they low?
I want to say right in the middle, medium. I was excited about the diversity, right?
Yes.
Since Black Panther, has there been kind of like a black lead in a Marvel movie? No, I don't think so.
The Marvels?
Oh, yes. But it was like an ensemble, right?
Yes.
Harris wasn't really the lead necessarily.
That's fair.
So yeah, I think since then, this is probably like since Black Panther and Wakanda Forever, this is like the first one with a black lead. So excited about that. And then you had Danny Ramirez as like kind of like the sidekick in the movie, which was great, for Latin representation. I'm trying to think, has there been any like Latinx superheroes in Marvel?
Not ringing a bell.
Yikes. So yeah, we love diversity. So I was excited for that. But, we talked about it in our Marvels episode. There's been some Marvel fatigue. So I was a bit worried about potential to be connected to like the multiverse and things about like Marvel I don't love, as well as the fact that they've lost a lot of big stars. Again, not for Anthony Mackie, but Chris Evans was like iconic.
I know. Yeah, I feel like Anthony Mackie had really, really big shoes to fill, and it's an uphill battle. He's replacing Chris Evans as Captain America. Yeah. No one. So I think they did a good job kind of leaning away from that. In the words of Harrison Ford, "You're not Steve Rogers." He said that. I'm like, yeah, no, he's not Steve Rogers. And I think they need to lean away from that because, right, everyone loves Chris Evans as Captain America. Right, we talked about this. Captain America Brave New World was in my most anticipated of 2025 because I was intrigued. We've been huge Marvel and specifically Captain America fans. And I wanted to see how Anthony Mackie would do in this role, right? So I was concerned because Chris Evans, you can't beat Chris Evans. So, yeah, I was hesitant coming into this movie.
That's fair. I think a lot of people were. But in spite of the hesitancy, it did have a strong opening box office.
Yes.
Brave New World got $100 million domestically at the box office in its opening weekend. Woo! Yeah. But it has had some mixed reviews. A B cinema score of 49% critics Rotten Tomatoes score, so certified rotten. And no. An 80% audience Rotten Tomatoes score, which isn't like super high, right? It's again in that B range. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, like, and having seen it, and not going to spoil our full thoughts, but I can see why it's getting a B. It wasn't the best movie I've seen. Do I think it deserves a 49% from critics? No.
No, that's low.
Not that bad. But it definitely isn't, an A. I think B is a fair grade for this film.
That's a good segue. What were some of your highlights from this movie that made you like it? That made you think, 49%, that is too low.
I like that Anthony Mackie was really trying to do the right thing. And the fact that he was trying to help Isaiah Bradley and, bring him to the White House and then encourage him and eventually like prove that he was innocent. Like, I like that Anthony Mackie had his cape on, but really trying to help like a black man that had been like disenfranchised and like hurt. Like, I like that because I think a lot of times superheroes was like, I'm just doing the right thing. But this clearly, there was like a slight political focus, which I appreciated. Was it fully fleshed out? Not necessarily. But I like that they were really trying to make this like a black political superhero film.
Kind of like what you said. I think we talked about it. So Harrison Ford, he plays the president of the United States, newly elected, and Captain America works for the president. He's kind of like the head of the military. I think they could have gone farther with the political commentary because afterwards I was like, is Harrison Ford kind of like Trump? Like, is that kind of, who he's trying to be? Because he's this, guy with anger issues who like turns into a big monster and like terrorizes the White House. And like literally destroys the White House. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is like President of the United States tormenting people and destroying the White House. I was like, this is a little too close to home for me. in this economy, in this day and age in 2025. So I was like, oh, interesting. So I think they could have gone further with the political commentary, right? A black man, black Captain America, right? Who's like spearheading, the US military. So I think they could have, Marvel, it is Disney, and Disney doesn't want to get too political or radical, but having a black Captain America is radical.
For sure. And I did not get the Trump comparisons at all, but when you said it, I was like, huh, maybe. And I definitely think, even if it wasn't purposely supposed to be a Trump spinoff, they were trying to make commentary about politics and like who's in charge. And I do think the issue sometimes with a brand like Disney is the last thing they want is to make a Trump-like character and anger him, because Trump is retaliatory, right?
He's taking no prisoners.
Yeah. So Disney definitely doesn't want that to happen. I think conservatives have retaliated against Disney when they've tried to be political or be supportive of diverse groups and individuals. So I can understand why they would be cautious and would not want that to come across.
I understand why Disney didn't lean in to a black Captain America, but you made Anthony Mackie Captain America, right? Like, lean in. You already committed.
You gotta own it. I mean, they tried. Like, they played Kendrick Lamar's eye in the end credits.
They did do that.
They tried to do a little something. They tried to own the diversity.
They tried a little something. I did really like Isaiah Bradley's character, and how, right, this black man who's wrongfully imprisoned, he's out living his life, doing things with his life again. Seeing him being locked up and behind bars again was very upsetting and very triggering. I was like, not a black man behind bars. Like, I can't. I can't. Yes, but seeing Anthony Mackie, fight for him and say, I'm going to get you out. I'm going to get you out. And that he actually did in the end that was great. That was a relief. And that he didn't die. I was like, Isaiah Bradley can't die. Black people cannot die in this movie.
No, we're awfulness.
And something else I also really loved, I loved Joaquin, played by Danny Ramirez. He was so cute and fun.
Favorite character for sure.
Yes.
I knew him because he was in a Netflix movie years ago, Look Both Ways, with Lily Reinhart. Yes. So I remember him from that. And then, of course, right, he's in Top Gun Maverick. So he's having a bit of a rise.
He's having a moment.
And he's so cute.
I want to see him in more stuff. Let's go.
Please. Big Danny Ramirez fans over here. Cast him.
Yes. I know, honestly, why was he giving more Captain America than Anthony Mackie?
Honestly, make Danny Ramirez Captain America. Part of the problem with Anthony Mackie is he's not, hot enough. I'll be honest.
He doesn't give heartthrob. No.
It is what it is. He's not big enough. He's not hot enough. I think Captain America should be, right, noble and positive, which Anthony Mackie is, right? And he has, charm and he's funny. But he also needs to be a hunk. And he's not hunky enough.
Yeah, they did. He had a couple shirtless scenes. And I was like, you didn't notice that? He had shirtless. Oh, Shelby really is not impressed by Anthony Mackie. He just completely ignored his shirtless scenes. Yes, he did have shirtless scenes. And I was like, he looks like he's pretty big and he's built. But I don't know. Yeah, I do think he doesn't have the heartthrob, kind of vibe that Chris Evans has so perfectly, But I do think Danny Ramirez has that quality. He has heartthrob, cutie, all-American boy kind of vibe.
He played the love interest in Look Both Ways to Lily Reinhart. So he capable.
Sound off. When has Anthony Mackie played the love interest? Please let me know. Please let me know.
Don't think that's his bread and butter, that's for sure.
No.
But yes, Danny Ramirez was great. His character Joaquin brought a lot of levity and laughter. In particular, the scene when Cap is like, okay, if you want to be Falcon, you got to know how to train. And he brings him to Isaiah Bradley's place and he keeps making age jokes. I'm like, I can't. It was a little corny, but it was funny. And the movie needed jokes. There weren't that many laughs.
Yeah. I agree. The movie wasn't super funny, But I thought the action scenes were pretty good. I was entertained. Like the pace was good. It didn't drag or anything, but wasn't as funny as I think some Marvel movies have been in the past.
No. And I will say one kind of action scene I liked was when Ruth, who for some reason was the security advisor to the president, they don't really get into that and why, but that's
No.
okay. When she realized, oh, Cap isn't a bad guy, and he actually is onto something about Isaiah Bradley not being the culprit of the assassination attempt on the president. Like, there's something going on. And she decides to help Cap and Joaquin escape from Camp Echo 1, which was this random military base that was like secretive. And that was a cool scene when they were like fighting the guards and escaping and getting out of there. I was like, okay. And before that, we hadn't really seen Ruth do any fighting. And even Cap and Joaquin were like, oh, she knows how to fight. That was a good action scene. And also like bringing the three of them together.
And Shelby, you told me that Ruth's character was supposed to have more backstory, but ended up not.
Yes, because in the movie, right, they mentioned that she's Israeli, and apparently she was going to be like the first kind of Israeli superhero and like a type of Black Widow, kind of how like Scarlett Johansson was Black Widow, and then you have like Florence Pugh, part of that kind of like family network too, and she was going to be like the Israeli Black Widow. But given all that is going on in the world, with like Israel and
the Middle East, Palestine,
given all of that, they decided to cut her scenes, which I think was smart. I find it interesting that they would even decide to have like an Israeli superhero. Like, is that in the comics? Like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know, but I think even that choice is interesting.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about this as much, but there were a lot of characters in the movie, and there were a lot of storylines. So I think, maybe they didn't want to cut it, but it helped the movie because the movie was already confusing with all the storylines. And I think, imagine if we got Ruth's backstory, that would have just been too much. It already was too much. There were a lot of moving parts in this film. So I think it personally didn't need Ruth's backstory anyways, so.
For sure. It would have helped understand why she was, working for the president. That makes sense. We've never seen her before. But I agree, it was hard to follow all the characters already. So the thought of adding more, it would have been like lost.
One character cameo that I did love, Sebastian Stan, aka the Winter Soldier, aka Bucky Barnes, made a cameo, popped up in the movie. Yes, he was there to be like, Cap, you got this. You can do this, buddy. But
much needed pep talk.
Yes, he gave Sam Wilson a pep talk. But why is Bucky Barnes a politician? They were like, oh, the future senator. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I gotta go, buddy. I gotta get back on the campaign trail. I was like, what?
When was Bucky a politician?
I remember that in the Winter Soldier show.
No.
Definitely wasn't.
And he's gonna be in the new Thunderbolts movie, and I'm like, what?
He's like fighting.
That's what I'm saying. None of this makes any sense. Where are the storylines? Where are the different timelines? Are we in Loki? Are we like what?
Yeah.
What timeline are we in? Because that's not making sense. How is he a politician? That I don't remember that in Falcon Winter Soldier. And he plays a villain who's troublemaking in the Thunderbolts. That's coming out in like a month. Girl, make it make sense. What I will say, Sebastian Stan is working these days. He's everywhere.
He's fresh off of a Golden Globe win.
Yes.
Sebastian Stan is out here. Big fans. Carter Bazin, Gossip Girl stans, no, for real.
We've been fans of his for over 10 years now, right? Gossip Girl. That was so long ago.
Ended a long time ago,
yes. So I did love seeing Sebastian Stan pop up.
The last kind of moment I'd say I liked was President Ross eventually reuniting with his daughter at the end of the movie. It's brought up multiple times, like, oh, I'm my daughter, I ruined that relationship because of Bruce Banner. Like, it was unclear like what really happened, and we would hear her voice, but we like never saw her. So it was actually exciting, like, oh, Liv Tyler's actually real, and the daughter's real, to see her at the end.
Yes.
And to have like kind of be closed on that arc, even though it was unclear to me why there was a fallout. Like, they kept saying he destroyed Bruce Banner, and there was this incident in Harlem, and I was like, when was this
I
incident?
know, what was the Harlem? They kept on being like, "Oh, the Harlem incident."
Where
Where was I? I don't remember that.
in a movie? Is this just exposition they're telling us?
It was unclear.
And I think that's a good segue for our least favorite moments.
Yeah, there was so much backstory and exposition in the beginning. It was like this newscaster was reeling off the Harlem incident, Bruce Banner, all this stuff, and I was like, wait, this is going so fast. So I felt like the backstory they did give wasn't clear.
No.
There were just so many storylines, right? And then they do a 5-month jump, and I was like, what? I just think the storytelling wasn't the clearest, and the setup was not the clearest.
No. Now that we reflect on it, was the 5-month jump even needed? I don't even know what that meant.
No, what was the point of the 5-month jump?
Yeah, like that wasn't clear. And
No.
I don't think we even needed to know that there was a Bruce Banner incident or connection.
Yeah, why was that relevant?
We saw him. They never really dove deeper into that. Like, it didn't make sense.
No.
Is that just to be like, oh, he hated like the Hulk, and then so it's ironic that he eventually, spoiler alert, turns into a Hulk?
Yeah, I didn't understand that connection at all. It didn't really make sense.
And speaking of things I didn't understand, there were too many villains. I think they tricked us at the beginning by having us think Sidewinder, played by Giancarlo Esposito, was the villain. He's like looking for this buyer, and he's like about to kill hostages, and then Cap and the New Falcon save the day. And then they're like, oh yeah, he's a part of the Serpent Society. And I'm like, what's the Serpent Society? I've never heard of this. Like, this is confusing. And then you were tricked because Sidewinder isn't really the bad guy. He was just working for Samuel Stearns, who had been imprisoned by President Ross for some reason. And it just, too many people.
The whole buyer storyline, I'm like, who's the buyer? A lot of it, I just didn't understand. Yeah, Giancarlo Esposito's right character. Shelby and I were after the movie. We were like, why was he in that movie? He did not need to be in that movie.
Great actor, big fan. Did not need to be in it.
No.
If you take him out, nothing changes.
No, nothing changes. It was just like, why is he trying to kill Anthony Mackie? I just kept on thinking, I don't understand why he's trying to kill him. It didn't make sense.
It's like, oh, the buyers wants me to. It's like, what?
Huh? Yeah, and you didn't love some of these random side characters, neither?
Yeah, we already mentioned Ruth, but then you had, like, Commander Dunphy that was, like, really close to Cap and, like, was a friend and then gets killed because he's helping Cap. And then you had Agent Leah Taylor, which we love to see Black women getting representation, but like, what was her point really besides just being an agent? Like, she didn't really do much. And then you also had all of the politicians, like the Japanese prime minister. Like, there were just so many characters to like follow and pay attention to that it just was a little, again, unwieldy. Like, I think they could have chopped a lot of them.
Edit. I'm like, who was the script editor? You get to chop half of these characters.
There were like 10 writers listed in the credits. So it was like too many cooks.
Too many cooks in the kitchen. Yeah. I was going to say, because there's also like this whole foreign policy storyline. President Ross is trying to get this treaty passed for this vibranium
rock that landed in the Indian Ocean.
That storyline also not really necessary. They could have, chopped half of that.
What did you think of the celestial Tiamat, that big thing in the Indian Ocean that had this new metal, adamantium?
I didn't understand, like, half the words he just said. You're like, aluminium and vibranium, and I'm like, huh? No, I have no thoughts or feelings.
It looked physically crazy. How there's like this big thing present day in the ocean of like metal and garbage? That's what it made me think of.
Yeah, right. It was quite far-fetched. I'm like, what? It looked like a helmet. It looked like an alien. I was like, what? Yeah, that was very strange. Something else I didn't love, I bet you also didn't like this. Joaquin Torres, Danny Ramirez, his character has a major accident. He gets hit by one of the rockets from the Japanese as they're fighting in the Indian Ocean.
Yes, because the U.S. fighter pilots were under the mind control of Stearns. and we're attacking the Japanese ships to incite war and ruin the president's legacy. So Cap and Joaquin were like, no, we have to stop them. And as Joaquin's trying to stop them, he gets hit and lands in the Indian Ocean. And Cap wants to go get him. They're like, no, Cap, you have to stop the fighter jets. You have to stop them. They're going to incite war.
That was a mess.
He survived.
Yes.
But I was still sad that my favorite character was hurt. And like, we didn't see him for like 20 more minutes.
I know. Sad. He was like the best. Both of us were like, where's Joaquin?
I know.
He's the best part of the movie.
Ugh.
And something else, as I kind of alluded in the beginning, President Ross, and you also see this in all the previews. I don't know why they showed it in the previews. Harrison Ford, aka President Ross, he turns into like the red version of the Hulk. Yeah. And this was kind of like the climax, right? Yeah. This huge fight. And I'm like, we saw this in all the previews, you know? Why did they do that?
I agree with you. I was like, the whole time I was like, oh, when is he going to turn into the Hulk?
Right.
I knew it was coming from the previews. So I don't know why they made it seem like such a big dramatic thing when the whole audience knew it was
coming. I know. They should have kept out the previews. Because people would have, seen it anyways. I think that would have been a really good twist. You're like, oh my gosh, the pills that his villain had been prescribing him made him turn into the Hulk. I think that would have been a good twist, but we knew it was coming. So another marketing flaw. But yeah, he turns into the Hulk at this press conference because he's, getting overwhelmed. He's getting mad at all the questions that they're asking him. Yes. And then he turns into the Hulk. And all the Secret Service people start shooting at him. He's literally destroying the White House. I was like, I don't like this. I don't like seeing President Ross destroying the White House, like literally ripping it apart, destroying all the cherry blossoms in DC. I was like, no, I did not like it.
Almost killing Cap.
I know.
So yeah, that wasn't great. And again, to your point, the fact that we knew it was coming, but also just wasn't the fun twist. It was like, oh no, he's a villain too. Too many villains. Right.
So after President Ross's blow up as Red Hulk, he is in jail, right? Of course. Who do you think is the new president?
So that's what's tough. There were like still so many questions at the end of the movie. They're like, yep, he's in jail. He is owning his mistakes. All the villains are in jail. Giancarlo Esposito, Tim Blake Nelson, and Cap is like, yeah, everything's good. And we're going to start the Avengers. And it's like, wait, so who's the new president? Like, what's happening? Like, they just left so many open questions.
I know. I hope Anthony Mackie, it makes sense if he becomes the next president.
Yeah, he saved the day. He is the most kind of genuine, authentic guy. It makes sense for Captain America to be president. It would.
I know. Black man president. Black president? Maybe that's too radical for Disney. I mean, having a Black Captain America period is radical. So make Anthony Mackie the president.
Anthony Mackie for president. Love it.
Sam Wilson for president. Shelby, are you ready for our game? Red flag, green flag, 1, 2, 3.
I am.
Okay, is it a red flag to get revenge? Like our main villain on President Ross?
Yeah, I think so. Stearns was pretty bad. Here's the thing. I understand it seems like he was wrongfully imprisoned and then like forced to like torture people and test people and was promised by Ross to be
pardoned.
Pardoned, but wasn't. So I can understand there's a lot of like vengeance and frustration there.
Right.
But the solution is not to like torture people and use mind games to ruin this guy's legacy. Like, if anything, you should have just gone to the press and been a whistleblower and, get this guy in jail. Like, his mind went too crazy. Like, he was trying to be way too elaborate and vengeful with his revenge, in my opinion. So I think the way he went about it is a red flag.
Absolutely.
And in general, we really shouldn't be getting revenge. Let's try to, like, forgive people and move on.
Yeah, I feel like revenge usually backfires, right? Yeah. Especially in all these Marvel movies, right? Even if, Ross doesn't seem like a great guy. But he'll, life will catch up with him.
Karma is real.
I know. I know. As I said that, I was like, oh my gosh. Too close to home, our leaders. I'm like, okay. Next question.
Question for you. Is it a green flag to serve your country and president like Sam Wilson did?
Interesting. I think in general, yes, it is a green flag as a federal employee myself. But I do think in Sam Wilson's position, like Isaiah Bradley was like, why are you working with the president? Why are you serving the president? You know, you should have your own thing. He's trying to control you and the Avengers. Like, you guys should be independent, all this stuff. So for Sam Wilson,
Mhm.
I don't know if it's a green flag, to report to Ross, to serve Ross. He clearly isn't the best guy and the most stable guy.
Yeah.
So maybe for Sam Wilson, I don't know if it's a green flag, but he's Captain America. I think the Avengers should be independent. I think being under the government, gives them more limitations.
I agree. And then also leads you to sometimes fulfill things that might not actually like be saving the world or in the best interest of people. It's best
Right.
your
It's in
leader.
the best interest of the US government, which is not, always in the best interest of people and, in general.
Again, look what's going on in our country right
I
now.
know. I'm like, oh god.
A lot of parallels. Yikes.
That's what I was saying. I was like, this movie feels a little too close to home, I must say.
I do think Captain America Brave New World is a watch. I
Mm.
ambitious in the fact that, right, it's a diverse superhero movie. It has Anthony Mackie, a black man, as the new Captain America, which has a lot of meaning right now in our world,
Yes.
in our country. To have
Yes.
a black man as Captain America. Like, ooh.
Yes.
The fact that they were trying to be political and have that commentary, I think, is also powerful. So even though it may not have been executed perfectly, and there were too many characters and it felt like some plot holes and too much exposition, I think you gotta watch it. And it still was like a light, kind of fun superhero popcorn movie.
Yes.
Had good action scenes and had some jokes. Like, it overall was enjoyable. The best
Yes.
movie I've seen, no, but I enjoyed it. And if we don't support these diverse superhero movies, they're gonna stop making them.
Exactly. I agree. I think I'm also a watch. It's fun to see in theaters. We saw it on the night before President's Day. This was like a fun weekend activity. I do think it's a watch too. I thought it was fun. And right, as a black person, seeing Anthony Mackie be Captain America was really cool and exciting. So I do recommend. I was very entertained.
Now for our What to Watch segment. If you're craving more Captain America, you can watch the OG films on Disney Plus. Get your Chris Evans fix. Also,
Yes.
probably might be helpful hindsight to rewatch like some of the Marvel movies, like
Falcon Winter Soldier, probably.
that show. Honestly, like, you probably made sense to rewatch things on Disney Plus to repair because we missed a lot.
Yeah.
Also, this is the first of 3 Marvel movies this year, people.
Woo.
So get ready. The Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four First Steps are coming later this year. We've seen both trailers. Were these on your most anticipated list, Laura? Just one of them?
Maybe the Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't really. Fantastic Four has flopped more than 4 times. I will say that. I just think like it's whereas I think the Thunderbolts has a bit more promise, right? We're seeing Bucky Barnes again. Like we know we love him, so that'll be exciting. So I'll probably watch that. I don't know if I'll watch Fantastic Four. How about you?
I agree that Fantastic Four does not have the best history, and the
No.
casting is also interesting. Like, they have Pedro Pascal, Joseph Quinn, Vanessa Kirby, and Eben Moss Bacharach from The Bear.
Yes.
All great actors. Like, all people that I've enjoyed in their various content, right? Like, think Vanessa Kirby was amazing in The Crown. Like, I think that they're all great actors. It's just none of them, I think, are stars, really. Maybe Pedro
Or Scream
Pascal.
superhero.
Yeah, like maybe Pedro is like the biggest.
Yeah, he's
and
a
the
star.
one that people really like. But yeah, none of them really scream superhero or star to me. So I am a little, I don't want to say concerned, but if like a Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller Fantastic Four couldn't work,
Who thinks this one's gonna work? Yeah, so we'll see. I'm not rushing to watch it. If the reviews are fantastic, maybe. And we stayed for the end credit scene for the movie, of course, as true fans do. And I feel like it was kind of like a whatever scene. Like, nothing really happened in it. Meh.
I can tell you what it was.
No. But apparently, Captain America will return.
Yay! Love that for Anthony Mackie. He'll be back. Also,
Yes.
more of Joaquin.
Yes, Danny Ramirez. Let's go.
Put him in more things. So yeah, we have more Captain America to look forward to.
Woo! Yes, I'm very excited. So good for Anthony Mackie. I'm very happy for him. And it seems like other, fans are enjoying it and going to the theaters to see it. So we love to see it.
Go see it, people.
Yes, go check it out. And if you enjoyed this episode of Sisters Who Watch, please give us 5 stars. 5 stars, please, wherever you listen.
Yes, we appreciate y'all so much. We want to hear from you. Comment on our posts. Email us at sisterswhowatch@gmail.com. DM us on social media. Leave us a review. Follow us. Subscribe. All the things wherever you watch, listen to us, please. We really appreciate y'all. Thanks for the support.
Thanks, y'all. Bye. Stay watching.